'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh, and welcome to the most anticipated films of 2023. Much like my video game list, this is my movie list, obviously, and these are ranked from my least anticipated to most anticipated. So if I only had to pick 5 to watch, the 5 I talk about last in this video will be those. These aren't in order of when they're going to come out, because movies are very volatile and they could push release dates up a week, back a week, anytime they really feel like. But all of these are currently slated for 2023. All these I'm very excited about, so let's just get right into things. We're starting with number 20, Disney Pixar's Elemental. Disney Pixar, of course, needs no introduction, and they're a great studio that, you know, even though like last year, the year before, they've been pushed a lot on Disney Plus, I think Elemental has the capacity to bring them back fully into the limelight. Obviously, Lightyear was supposed to do that, but it didn't. This film is wholly new. It looks fresh. It looks interesting. And I am hoping that it is a lot of fun, at least. Blue Beetle is the new DC film based on the character Blue Beetle. Stars the guy from Cobra Kai, and I think that's some fantastic casting. Blue Beetle has never been one of my favorite DC characters, but I think it's an interesting one to pick for his own movie. So I'm more interested than I'm not, because this is a new character to see on the big screen, and I think if it's good, it can do a lot of good. And DC is in a weird place right now, so I don't know if this will continue into their new franchise or if this will be washed away, but either way, it's an interesting thing nonetheless. The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a prequel to the Hunger Games films, a film series that I quite enjoy. I think the first one was great back in 2012. I think the sequel is even better. And then I think the 2 final parts are unnecessarily long because they split the book. But I'm down for a prequel. I'm down to do more stuff in that world. So this is interesting. It's set decently well in the past. It's based on President Snow. And it'll be interesting to see. I think the cast they have is pretty solid. I think, you know, the book seemed to get pretty positive reviews based on people who liked this series, so interesting. I'm happy to be back in that world. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is the newest Transformers film. I hope this is a lot more like Bumblebee than it is like the Michael Bay Transformers movie. I think it will, just based on how the Transformers themselves look in the movies. So this could be a lot of fun. It could be just a straight up blast, and nothing really to like have to think about too hard, nothing to really have to try to process, just a ton of fun in a Transformers movie. That's really what we're looking for here. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The sequel to Shazam, which is a very good DC movie. If you haven't seen it, it's more under the radar for a lot of people. It's not really one of the big ones, but it's also not like infamously bad. It's just really solid. And it's kind of a smaller superhero film, which is nice, centered on Christmas time. So if you want to watch it as a Christmas film, you can. Very pleasant movie, and I hope that kind of continues with this one. I'm a little nervous how the family dynamic is going to work, because that's a lot of characters we're going to have to juggle. But it worked in the first movie, and it could work in the second one pretty well. So Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I hope it's good. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Looks goofy, which I think is the correct choice. I think if we make a super serious Dungeons and Dragons movie, you're missing the point entirely. This should absolutely take a crack at just making fun of itself at pretty much every opportunity, because if you've ever played D&D, you know that's exactly what happens. No D&D game ever, I think, has gone completely serious the entire time. It's just about imagination and playing around. This should tap into that a lot more than trying to be like a super serious, like, this isn't Lord of the Rings, this isn't Game of Thrones. While a lot of people want D&D to be like that, it never is. And so the movie shouldn't be either. So I hope it's funny. I hope it's fun, straight up. And like I said, I hope it makes fun of itself in the best way. Scream 6, which I guess we're calling Scream 6, even though Scream 5 was just called Scream. It'd be weird if they called this Scream 2, but I guess that would make sense because of the naming scheme. If it's making fun of, like, sequels to legacy sequels, somehow just changing the name, whatever. So I'm curious what this one will be making fun of in particular, because every Scream is like, you know, the first Scream is just this is how slasher movies work, and the second one is this is how sequels, this is how trilogies work, this is how delayed sequels work, this is how legacy sequels work. What is this one exactly going to be like? Is this going to be making fun of when franchises go too far because this is going to Manhattan? Either way, I'll be there. I think it's a very quick turnaround from Scream 5, only a year, but I really liked Scream 5, so I'm excited. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I feel like this movie doesn't exist. Much like The Flash, which isn't going to be on this list. Aquaman is a movie that's been talked about for years, and we've seen so little about it that it feels like it's a movie that's more of an idea than an actual product. I'll be very excited to finally see a trailer for this. I'll be stoked to see Jason Momoa back with Aquaman. I remember when he got announced to be Aquaman, it was a very, like, why him? He doesn't look like Aquaman at all. But now, I don't really want to think of anyone else as being Aquaman. So, at least one more time, we're going to get him in the in the water suit. And I'm excited. It's supposed to come out on Christmas. Interesting choice. But last one did really good around that time. It's just interesting to come out on Christmas Day. Maybe they'll move it. Like I said, things can move around all the time. Hopefully they don't delete it, like Warner Brothers has been known to do recently, because I am looking forward to this. The Super Mario Brothers movie, which is finally coming. A weird cast, but a seemingly pretty good one based on the trailers. The trailers have been good, which is more than I expected. I have no faith in Illumination almost ever, but those trailers are pretty good, and with Nintendo's direction, I feel like this could work. That's what I'm hoping for. I am not expecting a masterpiece. If I get one, that would be awesome. But I am expecting something pretty good. So, at least that far. I'm nervous for my guy Donkey Kong because I have not heard Seth Rogen speak through Donkey Kong yet. Even in the trailer he was in, he didn't say a word. I hope he is more like just kind of a celebrity name on a character that just kind of grunts and makes ape sounds, because that's what Donkey Kong does. I don't need him to talk in sentences. So, something like Vin Diesel doing Groot, where he only says like one thing. Same idea, basically. But this will be interesting nonetheless. I don't think it'll be boring. It'll either be really, really good or really, really bad. I highly doubt it's going to shoot right down the middle. Cocaine Bear. Now we're talking. So, this is a movie about that bear that did cocaine in, like, I think it was, like, Kentucky or Tennessee, somewhere around there. And it's based on a true story. This really happened. This is a real bear. I think it's, like, in a museum as well. The fact we're getting a movie out of that is awesome. It's one of Ray Liotta's last performances, so it's a bittersweet. Get to see him in a movie I'm really looking forward to. But, unfortunately, with his passing, it'll be probably one of the last times I'll get to see him in theaters. So, this movie I'm stoked for. Like, just the name alone, it's called Cocaine Bear. That sounds awesome. Knowing that it's based on a true story that actually happened is awesome. I'm just happy that weird movies like this can still happen. So, I'm very much going to support Cocaine Bear. Oppenheimer, the newest Nolan movie, based on Oppenheimer, who made one of the people that made The Bomb. So, this will be something probably pretty dark. We're moving away from the time stuff, the space stuff that Nolan's been doing lately. So we're getting, I mean, maybe it has something to do with time as well. Who knows? It seems like it could be very heady, a lot of dialogue-driven scenes. But with someone like Nolan, I think it's really gonna be better than what on the paper it would be. And apparently they're doing visual effects for The Bomb in camera, so I don't know what the heck that means, but I gotta see that on the big screen. How Do You Live is maybe the final film from Hayao Miyazaki. I hope not. A man that's retired 2 or 3 times at this point, but just keeps coming back for more. Clearly he loves what he does, he loves to work, and I love his films, so I hope that I get to see that this year. It's been kind of like supposed to come out, and then it wouldn't, and then a year later it's supposed to come out. It's one of those ones that, like, it doesn't have a set release date, so it might get pushed again, but whenever it decides to show up, I'll be ready for it. 65. So I think it's weird for me to have a film that's not based on anything this high on the list. Not that I'm I am a little of a franchise junkie, but it's just those are the movies that get announced way ahead of time. But this is a movie starring my favorite actor, Adam Driver, and it's a dinosaur movie, which we do not have nearly enough of, especially good ones. And it's Adam Driver getting sent back in time and he has to survive against dinosaurs. Sign me right up. I'm going to be all over this. I hope it's great. That's the thing. I could watch this and I'm like, well, talked on the pile of bad dinosaur movies, we have another one. But I honestly don't think that Adam Driver would star in it if it was bad, or at least the script was bad, so... Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I think is the only MCU film I have here, because honestly, for me, MCU movies have become just kind of a thing I do. Like, I go to see them, but I don't actively, like, hype myself up for them as much as I used to. But this is one that I am very much looking forward to. Obviously, James Gunn being the helm helps a lot with that. These characters we've known for almost 10 years now helps a lot with that. So, which probably, some of them might not make it out, which is very sad to think, but I think this will be a huge movie. Obviously, it's a Marvel movie, so a massive, massive film this year that I hope sticks the landing, because so far the first two Guardians movies are some of the best the MCU has to offer. So, if this last one can stick the landing, I think we have an amazing trilogy on our hands. John Wick Chapter 4. More John Wick is always a good thing, in my opinion. Some people like to hate on Chapter 2 and 3. I'm not sure why. They like to say the story's overblown. They like to say it gets too full of itself. I think that these are perfect vehicles for Keanu Reeves. I think the action is top-notch. I am hard-pressed to find better action movies, straight-up action movies, than these. Just straight-up, like, go, go, go. Nearly the whole time. I love this world, I love this character, and I cannot wait to see more. I do hope it doesn't go too far. It's crazy we have a trilogy that is great the entire way through, in my opinion. So a fourth one, I'm happy to have, but I hope we're not at like John Wick 7. At that point, I'm just done. So I hope when it's time, they end it well instead of dragging it out forever. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is probably the biggest question mark here. Obviously, there's, like, movies I'm more like, it might be good, it might be bad, like the Hunger Games movie. But this one is, like, it could be perfect, or it could be an absolute disaster. And we just don't know. Because it's been, even since the last Indiana Jones, it's been a long time. And then, obviously, before that was a long time. This is the final Indiana Jones movie, maybe ever. I doubt having Disney own it, this will be the last movie forever. The last one with Harrison Ford, almost definitely. It could be John Williams' last score, which is sad to think about as well. So, time to say goodbye, and I will be there absolutely as soon as I can to see this, because whatever it's about, some people are thinking time travel, some people are thinking it's not time travel, it's just kind of reflecting on the past. Whatever it is, it's Indiana Jones. How is it not going to be this high? Dune Chapter 2. I mean, just more Dune, please. That first Dune blew me away. Fully with Denis Villeneuve. I'm super excited for Part 2. I cannot wait to see what happens, because I haven't read the book. I haven't seen the 80s movie, nothing. I don't want to know until I see it fully realized on that big screen. More worms, maybe. More blue eyes, maybe. More sand, maybe. I don't know. But I'm excited. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I don't know why they did Part 1, Part 2. I assume because it's probably going to end on a big cliffhanger. But I guess this is the start of the finale of the Mission Impossible movies, which, like John Wick, these seem to, we're coming to a close here. There's not much more we can do with this world, with this character of Ethan Hunt, so let's go out with a bang instead of dragging it out. The action in these movies are incredible. The characters I've loved for a long time, and I think that, like I said with John Wick, the action is so great. John Wick is more pure action. This one has that adventure element, a little bit of espionage element. So, but the action is top notch as well, and obviously I can't wait for this. Creed 3, third Creed movie. I adore the Creed movies. I adore the first one. The second one I think is a really, really, really good follow-up. Just not quite as good as the first one, but the first one is one of my favorite movies, bar none. So more Creed is going to be a good thing. I've rewatched them so many times, so I was saying to myself, I need a third one so I can rewatch that one to death, because I rewatch them so often and I love them so much that I feel like I'm going to overdo it. So having a third one will help. Listen, please don't be bad. Michael B. Jordan's first time directing, so that makes me a little nervous. Not that I don't think he can do it. I just haven't seen him do it yet. Hopeful. Very hopeful. Very high. Very excited. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, what can I say about the Spider-Verse that hasn't been said? I didn't say it was only Marvel movie, did I? I said it was only MCU with Guardians. So Spider-Verse is something very special. Animation style that's so beautiful that is starting to change some animated films to look more like that, but that's perfect because I think that animation style is the best you can do with 3D, at least what I've seen. I gotta wait. We've waited a good amount of time since the first one, and I think we're ready. It's been about 5 years, and I think they said after the last one it was going to be about 5 years, so we've waited our time. We're ready for more Spider-Verse, and I just hope that they don't fumble what they have, because what they have is amazing, and I think it might have been lightning in the bottle the first time, but hopefully not. I hope it's not just, hey, look at all these Spider-Men we have in this movie. Do you know this one? Do you know this one? Look how weird this one is. I hope they really hone in on a handful and they just tell an amazing story like the first one did, because I can rewatch that first one and it gets better every time, so I'm not expecting the second one to be as good as the first, but I am hoping it can live up to the level. Doesn't need to surpass it, doesn't need to match it, but around the same bump. So that'll do it. Those are 20 films I'm looking forward to next year. This was by far the easiest year I've ever had putting this list together. Every year I do these, even before I started making videos on them, I did these lists to amp myself up and be ready for the coming year. And honestly, I could have made a top 30 list. I've been stretching a little bit, but there are big movies that I didn't even talk about, so please tell me what you're looking forward to next year that I didn't speak on. Of course, there'll be movies announced in a couple weeks, a couple months to be coming out, in July or September, December, stuff like that. I don't know about that. Could be my favorite of the year. Movies that I've known about but don't really care about now could end up being incredible later on. So that's the nature. That's the fun thing about these. Obviously, these probably won't be in my top 20 come end of the year. That'd be crazy if I anticipated it that well, that these 20 are my favorite 20 of the year. Wow. That'd be something. But anyways, thank you so very much for watching. Like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.